What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and we are back with the Banner of War. Yes, we are. Banner of War Part 3, and this is nuts. This is one of those where it's like beyond Worldbreaker Hulk levels of Incredible Hulk. It's kinda nuts, right? It's absolutely ridiculous here. So, for those of you guys who are just joining us, make sure you check the playlist down in the description, get yourself caught up. But getting into this, right, so initially, this talks about the idea of quite literally Iron Man and his celestial-powered Hulk Buster suit, literally a Gundam, essentially, facing off against the Hulk. Now, here's the thing about this. The purpose of this suit, while it is capable, or should be capable, of defeating the Incredible Hulk, its greater purpose is to basically siphon the gamma energy off the Hulk, to literally suck it off, and then basically depower him. Now, the reason why Tony Stark goes this route is for a couple different reasons. One, because we know the Incredible Hulk is powered by gamma radiation, but two, the World War Hulk event, right? That's literally one of the things that Tony Stark did. He had those satellites that fired off and basically depowered the Hulk, reduced him back down into his banner form, although I still argue that it was the fight with Hulk and the Sentry that led to that, which was just a ridiculously amazing fight. But the cool thing about this is that when it comes to Iron Man firing this weapon off, literally, Thor's just watching this happen, right? Thor's just kind of like watching it unfold. And that's literally what Donny Cates says, right? He says, like, the black hand of God lays empty for the first time in millennia, its knuckles unclenched as the power of a celestial sun scorches its palm. The last remaining jackals and morbidly curious ghouls of its quadrant squabble and collect their unearthed winnings as the Bifrost scatters them to the winds, right? So of course, Thor gets him out of there. And he says, what comes next will have no witnesses, no watchers, none save Thor. The voice of his dead father ringing in his ear. And that's the cool thing here, right? Because literally the fight between Hulk and Iron Man is pretty intense because Iron Man doesn't fully understand what's going on here in a couple different ways. One, he doesn't fully understand what's going on regarding the Incredible Hulk and the Titan Hulk. And two, he doesn't fully grasp the fact of the Incredible Hulk and why it is that his weapon's not working the way that it's supposed to. It's not siphoning off the gamma radiation of the Hulk the way that it's supposed to. Now, there are a couple ways to approach this, and this is one of the ways in which Marvel plays it fast and loose with the Incredible Hulk, and it's why you kind of have to be a little bit careful. Technically, the Incredible Hulk's strength is limitless, and one of the things that was established in Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk run is that with Bruce Banner and like the Green Door and all that kind of stuff, the One Below All and so on, that basically Bruce Banner draws on a limitless source of energy, or the Incredible Hulk does, which is how it is he's able to achieve unlimited strength. It's a bit of a deviation from like the old school philosophies of the Incredible Hulk, which is that he just like literally his rage is a source of power and it's unlimited, right? The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. And while that still plays a role in it, the question you always had to ask is, but where's that power coming from? It can't simply just be rage. That kind of seems to be the question that's being answered here and really was answered in Al Ewing's run. But again, it still kind of bridges the gap between those two ideologies, right? Those two philosophies of how the Incredible Hulk always functioned. But one thing to keep in mind is the Titan Hulk. It's new here. We've never seen the Titan Hulk before in any real form like we're seeing it, and we only really saw it at the end of the last story arc, and it's kind of making its presence known to a degree here. Like, literally, that's the thing that goes on. Like, there's a point when Iron Man is talking, right? Talking to his AI, but what he says is like, this suit's not working like it's supposed to. They should be able to safely apprehend him, and he says, don't get me wrong, it's doing its job, but A, this is an insane amount of gamma radiation, and two, how is he still standing? Shouldn't he be smaller? And the response of his AI is incorrect, right? Power levels are surging, gamma radiation is increasing. So literally, the Incredible Hulk is getting stronger as Iron Man is siphoning this energy off of him. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely nuts. Now, here's the crazy and the kind of nuts caveat to this. He does let off this blast of energy. We see like the Titan Hulk form to a degree, but it doesn't fully manifest, right? It's just kind of a small little thing. But even just this small amount of energy that the Titan Hulk seemingly lets off is enough to overpower Iron Man's celestial powered suit, which is immense, right? I mean, I don't know if this suit is capable of going toe to toe with Celestials, but it is powered by celestial energy. So you could conceivably create an argument here that Titan Hulk is able to overpower Celestials, or at least challenge Celestials. At that point, it's a bit of a stretch, as little as that word means in a story where a guy in a celestially powered suit is fighting a green rage monster while the whole thing's being looked on by a god. I mean, the word stretch doesn't really have meaning when you're talking about the world of comic books, but still, right? Like, Thor's watching this whole thing go on, and in seeing Iron Man defeated by what is in effect the Titan Hulk, even though we only get, again, a small glimpse of it, that's when Thor steps in, and Thor's like, no, like, if you can hear me, Iron Man, stand down, right? Like, this is bigger than you and me. And while technically it really was Iron Man called here, at the end of the day, this is much bigger, and it's actually bigger than Thor thought it was, to a degree, right? It's like initially it was like, okay, like I can just overpower Banner and like that can be it, but it's a lot bigger than that, and both of them are realizing that. And that's one of the significant things that really has to be illustrated here, is that what they're saying here and what's really being solidified is that the amount of power the Incredible Hulk is showing here is unlike anything they've ever seen, and they've seen it. Right? They've seen like Worldbreaker Hulk and that kind of stuff. I don't know if Thor technically has, but like they've seen this whole situation unfold, right? They've seen this scenario take place. And because of that, they're aware of how powerful the Incredible Hulk can be. Now, here's the real question that you have to ask here. Is Titan Hulk, this version of the Incredible Hulk, on par with like the Heart of the Monster Hulk? Because that was the most powerful version of the Hulk that we had ever seen. Literally, he was breaking the dimension of Dormammu, right? Technically, it was ruled by Umar, but like he was literally shattering the dark dimension, like cracking it, because of how powerful he was. And neither Iron Man nor Thor were there for that event. It was strictly Doctor Strange, right? So we don't really have a basis, right? It'd be different if Doctor Strange was here and it's like, this is the most powerful version of Hulk I've ever seen, and it's like, yep, this is beyond Heart of the Monster Hulk. But at the very least, we know he's beyond Worldbreaker, contextually, and even just what we're seeing in terms of the raw power that he's putting off. Now, the funny thing is that Odin is the one that's like, at least having his words and chiming in with Thor and basically saying, look, like, you have to let me get involved here. Like, I was in the mind of Banner, if only momentarily. Banner's not in control here, right? This is 100% the Hulk, and in all honesty, he's being influenced by the Titan Hulk, even if he doesn't fully know. One of the other things to keep in mind too is the persona of Banner, right? The mind of Banner, or at least his personality, essentially, is watching all this unfold as well. And while he's not physically in the real world, he's basically back in the mind of Hulk, but can essentially see through the Hulk's eyes, basically. And that's one of the things that, like, he's literally shouting to everybody. No one can hear him, but he's like shouting at everybody, like, you don't understand. Hulk does not know this is not a simulation. That's the big caveat here. The Incredible Hulk thinks this is a simulation, right? The Incredible Hulk, because he's so simple-minded, remember, the personality of the Hulk is used as the engine of the Incredible Hulk body. But the personality of the Hulk basically fights an endless wave of enemies, and that's how Banner, that personality, is able to control the body and amp up the strength and decrease the strength. But the personality of Hulk cannot differentiate between the two. It doesn't know that it's not in a simulation. As far as the Incredible Hulk believes that like Thor and Iron Man, all that kind of stuff, they're not real. And so the Incredible Hulk does not know that if he just totally unleashes, he'll kill him. And he doesn't know that they'll actually be dead in the real world. This is great because one of the things that this illustrates here is that historically speaking, the Hulk has always kind of held back to a degree. And that's true. Despite how angry the Incredible Hulk got, you can count on one hand the number of times the Incredible Hulk just threw friendships, allies, all that kind of stuff, threw all alliances to the wind and just went unbridled rage. There's the Onslaught saga when the Banner personality was yanked out of the mind of the Incredible Hulk by Jean Grey in order to defeat Onslaught. They all literally just stood out of his way because it was nuts how powerful he was. There is, of course, the World War Hulk storyline, and there's the Heart of the Monster Hulk storyline. There might be a couple more here and there, maybe, but like there's very few instances when the Incredible Hulk just abandons any concept of friendship and it's just pure unbridled rage. That almost never happens, but that's what's happening here, right? Because he doesn't know that they're real, as far as he's concerned, they're not real. And just like all the other conflicts he had to fight in the simulation, he'll tear him to pieces, right? His anger will just keep getting higher and higher up. Now, of course, this leads to Odin basically overriding Thor and saying like, enough, something has to be done here. And because the hammer is possessed by the spirit of Odin, it can essentially act of its own volition. And that's exactly what it does. Right now, this is one of the best things about this is because it's Donny Cates setting precedent here, that up to this point in time, whenever it came to the hammer of Thor, it was literally just an object Thor would use to achieve a goal. control, right? He would just beat on things. And that was basically it. When things started shifting under the writing really of Jason Aaron, if you really want to trace this back, all the way back to the days of Thor God of Thunder and really the stories of Gore the God Butcher going into like original sin and all that kind of stuff, teasing the notion that the hammer has a will of its own. Really Donny Cates was the one that kind of amplified that with the actual sentience, the storm, all that kind of stuff. Like his run on Thor, what it really did here is it set the precedent for the idea that like the hammer being possessed by a spirit or by a cosmic entity allowed the hammer to have a will of its own. That sets the stage for Odin possessing the hammer or, existing inside the hammer and being able to use it for his own ends. There will be some who are against that. I think it's great. I think it's a great change to the Thor mythos. I love the idea of Mjolnir being anything other than just an object Thor uses to hit stuff, right? Like it's like when you look at Mjolnir for what it is, that's literally all it's ever been in Marvel Comics. A hammer that Thor uses to hit things, because when you're a hammer, everything's a nail, and that's it, right? But to like give even just the hammer itself almost its own kind of role, its own personality in the comics, it's a great concept. I love it, right? So again, that's one of the reasons why I'm not necessarily adverse to change to comics anymore, because change is great, because sometimes cool things come out of it. But the thing about this is that ultimately the hammer, literally Odin as the hammer, just flies into the Incredible Hulk. Right now, again, the enchantment, all that kind of stuff still remains, and only the worthy can lift the hammer. So the Hulk's ultimately pinned by it. And so what you get is this crazy moment when like literally the Hulk's pinned down to the ground and uses eye beams to like destroy this physical manifestation of Odin. And that's when Iron Man's like, okay, I don't know what's going on here right now, but this is not the Hulk that I remember. The Hulk that I remember is the one who just yells Hulk smash. He beats some stuff up. We have to like corral him in, right? Reel him in. We have to calm him down. And then like business as usual. Like I've never seen the Hulk shoot freaking lasers out of his freaking eyes, right? Like just straight up Dr. Evil, right? Just freaking laser beams. I have never seen that happen, right? Like I've never seen that take place. I mean, that's one of the things that's going on here, right? That like the Incredible Hulk, whether or not these powers will become mainstays, I don't know. But the reality of this is that with the Incredible Hulk getting so enraged, getting so mad, getting so angry at the fact that he quite literally can't lift himself because of the hammer, that all this gamma radiation, this surge, if you've noticed, it's just been building up and building up and building up. And so ultimately, the exact thing that we would expect to happen happens, that he just detonates, right? It's just literally this gamma bomb that just explodes. And so in effect, Iron Man is seemingly the only one left standing. And once, of course, he gets out of his suit and he starts looking around in like his space suit, right? His normal Iron Man garb, if you want to call it that, he notices a kind of shadow that's out there. And so he's like, okay, did we know that the Incredible Hulk could do that? Did we know that he could basically just unleash huge amounts of gamma radiation in the form of an explosion? And the answer to that question is no. That seems like a pretty new thing to have. I mean, technically some Immortal Hulk stuff goes in there, but it's a relatively new thing to the Thor mythos. And so in the end, the statement that's made by Stark's AI is the reason why he wasn't incinerated like any normal human being would be is because he was protected by the celestial suit of armor that he had. And so then he asked the question, he's like, okay, so you're saying that if a human was caught in this blast, would they end up basically becoming like an Incredible Hulk? Because what we witness is just a gamma bomb, right? It's like, would that be the case? And the response of his AI is no, that person would be incinerated. So then he asked the question, okay, so what if it wasn't a person who was caught, like a normal human who was caught in this gamma bomb explosion? God, it's so good. What if it wasn't a human who was caught in this gamma bomb explosion because it was equivalent to like 3,000 gamma bombs? What if it was like, I mean, just for shits and giggles, hypotheticals, what if it was a god? And that's when you end up finding out Thor was caught in the blast. Thor was hit with the power of 3,000 gamma bombs. And what this did is it turned Thor into a Hulk. So literally, he's just like, Thor smash. I gotta say, man, this story is amazing. With that being said, guys, we're gonna bring this to an end. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace.